So, good evening, good morning, dear participants. Welcome to our gathering, online gathering. Dear panelists and dear listeners, my name is Maria Riel. I am director of the UN Office Vienna for Women's Federation for World Peace International. For newcomer, you can check about our identity on our homepages or speak with your friends and with the colleague they know us. Uh, Today's topic is working together for peace and development for a resilient and sustainable future. This is very nice topic, and we wish that everybody can be inspired. We share good example of good activities, and on this way we use the technology to inspire ourselves, our neighborhood about good activities. The guide through our evening will be Mrs. Renate Amesbauer. She is president of the Women's Federation for World Peace, Austria, and Secretary General for Women's Federation for World Peace International at UN office in Vienna. We work together as a team and we inspire each other. She has played a key role in advancing peace initiatives like Bridge of Peace and gender equality and many humanitarian projects. She works to build strong partnerships with global organizations, fostering interfaith dialogue and sustainable solutions to societal challenges. Renate, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Maya. And I really must say, Maria Riel, she is a medical doctor, even retired, she still is. And before women starting off, she gave the kick for Women Federation to start off in Austria in 1992. And with great excitement, we took on this mission together. And everything we do is happened, we always did it together and still do it together. So thank you very much, Maria. I'm very grateful I can be your MC today. I'm replacing Kyungin, who had some urgent matters she had to deal with. She sends her greetings and apologies. So I hope I can do it at least 50% as well as she always does it. We will think of her. Now it's a great pleasure to me to welcome our first speaker, who will give words of greetings. And I must say she's a very faithful lady, because it's not the first time we have her on our call, is Miss Grisil Sickert. And it's really impressive to see a young lady with a long history of education. She is the third secretary and vice consul of the Philippine Embassy in Vienna. Ms. Sickert is born in Bacolor, Pampanga, in the Philippines, graduated as Bachelor of Science in Business, in Master Management in the University of the Philippines. She was licensed environmental planner, I'm sure she still is, and worked as a city planning officer in a local government office. It's really exciting. In the Philippines, and then she made an exam for foreign service officer, and her first mission in the Philippine embassy was in Islamabad as a consular. And then she came to Austria. I do not know exactly what time, but I think we know each other for some years now. So welcome in Austria, and welcome to our meet and greet. Thank you very much for being so faithful and always join us. And we are very excited to hear your words of greetings. Ms. Sickert, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Renate. So, good evening from Vienna, from very, very hot Vienna in the past few days. So, thank you for that beautiful introduction. If you also remember the previous meet and greets where I spoke, I usually just talk about the Philippine initiatives that's aligned with the theme, the Philippine government's current policy framework and leadership framework on engaging the youth, the women, and the civil society. But now, I would I would like to talk about my work as a Filipino community coordinator in Vienna. So previously, I spoke about the Philippine government's initiatives in public participation and governance and how to encourage women and youth participation in its development agenda, and how the Philippine agenda in advocating for gender equality, youth protection, and empowerment in the UN and international organizations were done. As the Philippine Embassy's Filipino Community Coordinator, part of my job is to look and identify opportunities to engage the Filipinos and Filipino-European community in Austria and other countries our jurisdiction in discussions that could help us improve governance and services, and in encouraging constructive feedback on both Philippines and host government policies that affect their personal, professional, and in enhancing their capabilities to contribute to community development. In terms of youth, we have a lot of Filipino youth here. They are the second, third, and fourth generation Filipino Austrians, as they have the advantage of, and we coordinate and engage them in our activities because they have the advantage of having mixed ethnicities, which could translate to them having deeper understanding of both cultures and countries, and who could serve as future leaders and bridges of understanding between the Philippines and other host countries under our jurisdiction. They're also our active advocates of culture who could be strong voices in pushing for the shared values of peace, coexistence, acceptance, and other countries' rich cultural heritage. In the embassy, we engage a lot of women's groups. So if I think Renata can attest to this, we have a lot of Filipino workers here who are, well, maybe more than 50% of the Filipinos in Austria are women. So we have a lot of women's groups, Filipino community groups, and we acknowledge that their roles can be termed as community glues. They are the ones who nurture, heals, reconciles, and unite people. So Filipino women leaders in Austria have been helping us manage most of our assistance to nationals initiatives and has helped us build a support system for Filipinos who have been victims of abuse. There are also women's groups who help our newly arrived Filipino workers and marriage migrants integrate well in the European society, and other women's groups that has continued to provide support to the embassy's initiatives to protect women and promote Philippine culture. The embassy has a year-round lineup of seminars, lectures, town hall meetings, and exchanges with the youth and women's groups in pursuit of its governance agenda towards a more participative and supportive society. From our end, we also help them in ways how to improve their initiatives and how to, make representations to the host government agencies, to international NGOs, etc. And through this, we hope that in our own ways, we contribute to a more sustainable world and a more inclusive society. So that's it for the Philippine Embassy. That's it also for my role as the Filipino Community Coordinator. And I can't wait to hear from all of the other speakers here tonight. Thank you, WFWP, again for this opportunity. I can't wait to hear the stories of all other speakers tonight. Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Sika. Thank you so much. And thank you for sharing the experience of your role. And I must really say from our side with Filipino community, it is just really encouraging. It is inspiring to be together with you. We are very happy we came across you through our colleague Melly Soquila, that we got connected with Philippine groups and diaspora organizations. Thank you very much, Ms. Sika. Now we have another nice we have only nice people today, of course, but Ms. Kefilwe Lepepe is also someone whom I know, Ms. Lepepe. She is born in South Africa. She's a professional and a youth leader, but now she's based in Bonn, in Germany. So she went also half the world round. She is also the regional leader of WFWP of Central Europe. She is also the leader of Young Professionals team of our Women's Federation International. In this role, she organizes webinars and workshops and focus on the role of youth in society, intergenerational cooperation, and achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Ms. Lepepe has also been with us at the UN, I think 1.5 years ago. You were here. It was very nice. And very nice to have you here, Kefilwe, and we are curious to listen to what you have to say to us. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Renata, for that beautiful welcome, and thank you so much to the UN Vienna team for inviting me today. And looking at the subtopic for today, what women, youth, and civil society can bring to the table to support the UN SDG for 2030 to ensure no one is left behind. Um, this does resonate with me, especially with my Women Federation for World Peace journey. So today I will be sharing on my journey and my personal experiences and also what I have learned. So as Renata mentioned, I'm from South Africa. And I found Women Federation in 2008 when I moved to Johannesburg as a student. And I will say I did not really understand what it's all about, but they were these nice ladies and they would invite me. And one day I went and, I enjoyed it the first time and then I went again. Um, and even that time, I knew that I liked this group of people. I knew that there was this Women Federation organization behind it. Although I did not really understand why not just come together as a group. Why did it have to be under this Women Federation organization? And we were not so big, but we were ethnically, religiously diverse, and also from different economic backgrounds. So it was very fascinating for me to see all those perspectives, especially when it came to events. Someone had to contribute, and in one way or another, someone was always an expert in a certain area or in something that needed to be done. And so some of the early activities that I attended, we went to an orthopedic ward in a children's hospital. We took candy and snacks and gifts for the children with broken bones. Most of them were not getting visitors because they were far from home. And then what we would also do for each other, if someone had something, a member of Women Federation had something, for example, like baby showers, for example, this is something that we would get together as Women's Federation. So it was really not just only about helping others, but also we were supporting ourselves and also to make sure that with the members, if somebody needs something, they get that help. If someone needed to be built in a certain area, the Women Federation was there as well. And one defining moment for me, we went to an elderly care home in Johannesburg. Once again, it was a very new experience. I just knew I was with this group of ladies that I really liked, who always gave me positive experiences. And we were there. We took some things for them, and I remember one person needed their diaper to be changed. And so, of course, we had to maybe exit the room. But one of our members, who was a retired nurse, I saw her just get up and use all this physical strength that I did not know that she had. And she was the one that actually did that. And you could see that the care workers were really deeply grateful. And that's when I saw that, okay, this is not just, doing nice things, but we help people. We make a difference in people's lives in one way or another, in whatever skill that one has. And that moment has that experience has always stayed in my heart. And of course, as I grew a little bit older, I had a different experience with Women's Federation. And in 2017 to 19, I was part of the executive. I was part of the treasurer. I was the treasurer of Women Federation South Africa. And that experience was also different because you now get to see how things are done. You start to understand the terminology, the legality, even the constitution, etc. And you're even called to come and solve the problems. And that for me it was really, really good that me, I could do something like that. But it was always rewarding after accomplishing something. And there was a lot of support. And it was during this time where I could also bring in my educational and my professional experience to contribute to something positive. And working in a bank, I felt, okay, I'm just here to help someone make money. But being with Women's Federation gave me that internal satisfaction of actually doing something better for the world. And it was during this time I also saw different capabilities working at every level, including parliamentarians, including high government officials as well. So that was also another level of experience. And of course, I moved to Germany in 2020 and I connected with Women's Federation online, with the International Women's Federation. And shortly after that, I connected with Women's Federation Germany. And I will say, Women Federation Germany was also that family, that community, because I had just moved to Germany. I didn't know anybody, but there were these sisters that loved me and they embraced me so much. They really, really supported me. They were my cheerleaders and they encouraged me. I managed to accomplish things that I did not know that I could accomplish. And through that, I was connected to Women Federation on the European level as well. And there I had the same, a very similar experience, support, um, building. And I will say, I could not stand and speak in front of people before, but it was through the encouragement. You can do this. Don't worry, we will help you. And in instances where I need someone to hold my hand, up until this day, there's always somebody who does that. And in instances where I feel, okay, I can fly, I'm also encouraged to do that. And of course, since last year, end of last year, I was appointed as the leader of Europe Central Region. It's quite a big role. I'm learning every day as I go along. But one thing that's always there's always support. There's always building. I'm growing every day. I feel that I'm being built day by day as well. And I'm grateful for that. And I have changed, I have grown. And with each stage of my life, Women Federation gives me a different experience. And I think that's what makes it so beautiful. It's not that, oh no, this is something I did in the past, so whatever. So as I grow, as my needs grow, as my thinking grows, there's something in Women Federation that is there for me to do and contribute to. And as I conclude, I would just like to say that young people are inspired more by personal experiences. They are inspired by how something makes them feel. And they also enjoy doing things that they resonate with. And I'm happy that I was able to find such an organization at a young age. I'm still there. And there was always love and acceptance. There still is. And I'm also excited that as I grow older and older, what will Women Federation have in store for me and how I would be able to contribute to Women Federation at that level. So Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kesilve. And I remember we had very amazing talks when you were in Vienna for a few days when we were at the UN together, and I learned so much from you. It's an amazing bridge you're building from Central Africa to north of Germany. This is also an amazing cultural, and not only a distance by miles, but a cultural distance. And thank you very much for your very open sharing. Now we have the pleasure to see our next speaker. And now it's a pleasure for us to welcome a colleague, again a colleague from half around the world, Miss Juvi Valdemar Del Monte. We didn't see you before, but we are very happy to meet you today. She is the national leader of Women Federation of the Philippines, and she is a highly professional person, a professor in Technological University of the Philippines, Manila. In addition to teaching management and entrepreneurship courses, she handles national service training programs where she promotes civic consciousness, service, and responsibility among students. This is amazing. It's so beautiful. She's currently pursuing a Doctor of Philosophy Management in the Lyceum of the Philippines, University Batangas, and is in the dissertation stage. So we have to keep the fingers crossed for you. She has also earned units in Juris Doctor, reflecting her interest in law, governance, and public service. And I will not read any more because we really want to listen to you, and I give the time and the floor to you, Ms. Del Monte. Please.
Thank you so much, Renata. Hello, everyone. So let me first share my slides. All right. Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders, dear colleagues, and fellow advocates for peace, warm greetings to everyone gathered here today. Here in the Philippines, it's 2 a.m. And it's proof that when the cause is peace, even time zones must cooperate, right? So it's really an honor to join this meet and greet organized by WFWP International UN Vienna team and WFWP Austria. Special thanks to Miss Marlies Okila Blasca for inviting me and for making my participation possible. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to speak alongside remarkable leaders who are shaping a more peaceful and sustainable world. So again, my name is Juvi Del Monte, and I am an educator. I am currently teaching at the Technological University of the Philippines, Manila for 15 years now. And I also serve as the president of the WFWP Philippines. And it's truly an honor to be part of this organization. Women's Federation for World Peace was founded through the vision and tireless efforts of Reverend San Myung Moon and Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, who believe deeply in the power of women to heal families, strengthen communities, and build lasting peace. Their courage to establish a global movement at a time when women's leadership was not always recognized continues to inspire me. And so being entrusted with this mission is something I carry with gratitude and a deep sense of responsibility. So, as we engage in this important conversation, I'd like to focus on the role of women, what women can bring to the table to support the UN SDGs to ensure no one is left behind. Specifically, I'll be sharing some of the initiatives and future plans that the WFWP Philippines is carrying out that demonstrate how women are truly powerful agents of transformation in their families, communities, and the nation. So here are some of the initiatives of WFWP Philippines. So last April 2024, our team carried gifts of love and support to the Tadyawan Mangyan community, one of the indigenous peoples of the Philippines located in Oriental Mindoro. And around 30 Mangyans joined us together with Barangay Chairman and his wife. So this is what women are really good at, reaching people. So we go to the last, the least, and the ones often left out of the conversation. And I think we can all agree that women have a keen attentiveness that helps them notice who's been left out of a room. And then another initiative we carried out was the Digital Bridges for Peace, a symposium on global peace and reconciliation. So last September 2024, we brought together leaders from the academe and local communities to explore how digital platforms can support dialogue, awareness, and peace building across borders. So the symposium also highlighted the significance of pursuing reconciliation efforts on the Korean Peninsula as a cornerstone of regional stability. So it's one of the projects funded by the WFWP International, and we were able to tap women leaders from government agencies such as the Department of Information and Communications Technology, who served as one of the speakers. Also, this March, in celebration of Women's Month 2026, we ran HIV awareness and moral recovery sessions side by side with blood donation drive that reached about 250 university students. So the activity aims to instill among young people that caring, sharing, and saving lives is not just something we say, it's something we do. So out of the blood donated, portion of it will be available to students and employees of the partner school and to our organization as well. And we are also pursuing a formal partnership with the partner hospital to offer benefits such as discounts on checkups and laboratory services, which is, of course, a meaningful and a practical form of support for those in need. And then another recent milestone was the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with Mindanao State University at Naawan. So, as many of you may know, Mindanao, one of the three major island regions of the Philippines, has faced decades of conflict, including the Marawi siege in 2017, which cost many lives and livelihoods. Yet its people continue to work tirelessly towards lasting peace and stability. So, through this collaboration, we aim to support ongoing efforts to promote harmony and development in the region. So, these are some of the initiatives that the WFWP Philippines has carried out. And behind every one of them are women who showed up, gave their hearts, and made a difference. Now, let me turn to what lies ahead, though I won't go into every detail. So, first, we are currently working on the accreditation of Young Women's Federation for Peace and Empowerment as our youth organization in various state universities and colleges. So, this will build a network of young women leaders actively engaged in peace and community development. Other activities would be the Women Peace Congress. So, this will serve as a policy shaping platform where women leaders, students, and community representatives identify pressing peace and social issues. So we envision this Congress to be an annual flagship event of WFWP Philippines. We also aim to hold a Women Peace Festival, which is a celebration of culture, creativity, and community harmony. And then another upcoming initiative is the Blue Harvest Sustainable Ocean Based Livelihood Program. So this will particularly focus on Mindanao region in collaboration with the Mindanao State University. So this program is anchored on the concept that peace cannot flourish when hunger persists. So we are also now preparing the working documents for capacity training for violence against women and children, or VAUC desk officers, ensuring that frontline responders are equipped with updated knowledge and effective case handling skills. And lastly, the Tech to Progress. So, this is a digital skill for livelihood empowerment. So, all these activities we hope to carry out begins with one belief, and that is no woman is too small to make a difference. We want women to see their worth, to recognize their strength, and to develop skills that open doors to opportunities, economic security, and personal dignity. And through every effort, we remain committed to advancing the Sustainable Development Goals, because when women are empowered, peace becomes possible. So, to end, let this be a reminder to all women here that Your voice matters. Your leadership matters. Your presence matters. And the world needs you now more than ever. Because in the end, the greatest thing women bring to the table is not a program or a project. It's themselves, their reach, their care, their courage to go where others won't. Thank you, and may we all continue to invest in women's leadership.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chawla. This is very impressive. My full respect, our full respect to your work, and congratulations and wishes for a good, hopeful and successful continuation. Thank you so much for sharing. Now we turn to another lady, Miss Rosie Chawla. She is an educator, curriculum developer, and also for peace building and conflict resolution. Again, so amazing topics. She's associate in master's program in negotiation and conflict resolution at Columbia University and director of global education projects and partnership in the UNESCO Center for Peace. She designs curriculums, training programs, global educational projects focused on peace, gender equality, human rights, and conflict resolution. And again, I leave you to read the rest of the very impressive curriculum. And I'm very happy to give now the floor to Ms. Chawla. Please, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for inviting me to this conference. I'm really honored to be here. A huge thank you to Ms. Marley Sakura for inviting me. I heard very deeply the speakers who spoke before me, and I couldn't agree more that these are the steps that collectively we all need to be taking as part of civil society to answer the question which was asked in the topic today is what women, youth, and civic society can bring to the table for SDGs. So I'm going to break it down one by one, and I'm going to put my timer on so we don't exceed or cut someone else's time. The one thing I would like to point out is, and every speaker has said this, directly and indirectly, is the basic foundation needs to be involvement, right? How do we get youth, women, and civic society kind of more involved together into solving the problems that we believe we can come up with solutions for in real time? And I think all of that begins with first an education initiative. And I think in those education initiatives, at least when UNESCO Center for Peace designs them, who we are designing for and their input really matters to us. So in this case, if we're going in a community, or if we're going in a civil society, or if we're going in places that are not new to these concepts and ideas, but they've had training programs that really didn't result in much change. What we look at is who was involved in the planning process. And we actually walk the talk by saying we want women involved, we want youth involved, and we want the civic society of that location to have a say in working with us in how we help get all these different sectors involved in SDG. So when we look at what women bring to the table, right, we really look at how we know that women are a household economic multiplier. And what we know from data is that women will commit 90% of their income back to their families and their communities, right? We actually bring up to date, on time data in our education processes, because we cannot convince a society to involve women more by just saying it. But if we bring knowledge that shows that we have data, we have systems thinking, we know that when women are given equal economic opportunities, that their community has a stronger chance of thriving, training programs, delivering what they actually hired us to do, it really shifts the mood of our project, right? So the one thing we do is if we're going to any civic society, we really invite women into our planning processes. We invite youth. The second thing women bring to the table from our perspective in training is inclusive resource management, right? We know that women have frontier knowledge of water, agriculture, and community health. But are these women in the right spaces giving their experiences and obstacles? And is it really representing them, right? So we create pathways for women's voices to be counted into their local systems. We aim to help women design methods that help their voices get heard, right? And that deals with SDG 13, right? The third thing is my heart, which is peace and stability. We know that when women are involved, not after peace and peace are drafts, but actually in the planning process, in the negotiation process, that peace agreements last 15 years or more, and they're 35% more likely to succeed. So even when we are talking about addressing conflict in local society, in global society, women's participation in how they view the conflict, because they are normally the population that's impacted the most next to children, it really shifts the way we need to look at conflict prevention strategies that will work so peace can automatically be woven into the lifestyle versus peace being taught. We know there's a lot of peace classes, but that necessarily doesn't lead to peaceful behaviors and peaceful mindsets. We want to look at a step further is when these communities are facing conflicts, how much are women really involved in peace and stability as voices to draft these agreements, right? So UNESCO Center for Peace actually really aims to make sure when we are doing conflict prevention education, when we are training women to be mediators, when we are inviting youth for peace ambassadorship, that we are actually taking what they have experienced in terms of failure, what they see in their own community, and are the right stakeholders involved into our process, right? So that works with SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institution. Moving down to what youth can contribute. Well, we know that technology and problem solving are intersecting in amazing, amazing ways where we no longer have to wait for data gathering. We are actually at the forefront of it. So youth contribute tremendously to SDG 9 when we look at industry, innovation, and infrastructure. I believe they bring that digital thinking, that digital problem solving into the SDGs, especially when we're talking about apps for tech-driven agriculture, apps for remote education, apps for community health tracking. This is all youth, right? This is where we need youth and women to kind of work together to advance these strategies, low-cost strategies, right? The other thing that youth bring to the table is intergenerational equity, right? Because we know that youth can combine technology, they can actually create a higher chance of urgency of an issue than we could before this technology was available to us. So I encourage you to use the technology that they see and create a stakeholder urgency. And in our youth classes, we actually aim to inspire, teach, and educate youth by giving them a local problem that they can use technology to solve by creating an urgency. We think that method of creating urgency is a skill that we need in our SDGs to accelerate solutions or to try solutions so we quickly know whether they work or they are not complete in the way they are designed, and we need more implementation, or we need more idea, or we need a deeper technology, right? On to the last part, which is the civic society. I think civic society brings in a great value. Like, when I think the speaker before me hit it on the spot, when we do conferences and bring NGOs together, when we do conferences that bring women together, when we do conferences where civil society can actually engage with the population that they're working with, right? So especially people located in remote, marginalized, or conflict affected areas, right? So the delivery network is really where I think civil society can make a huge impact. We can't get there, but they can get there because they have the resources, they have the money, they have the political foundations, they have the network. So from UNESCO Center for Peace side, we really look at civil society and CSOs as our delivery network. We can't get to that region, but they already exist there. And what are they doing? Can we align with them? Can we support them? Can we offer them training and resources? Can we learn what's working for them and then try to bridge their gaps, right? So I think civil society brings that delivery network aspect to the SDG. The other thing civil society brings is data and accountability. Because these orgs are normally formalized under 501c3, they're NGOs, they're CSOs, or they're part of large things, they have the maturity and they have the means to collect and monitor data on the ground, giving us real information. And I can't tell you, when we look at interventions, how valuable that data becomes, because we don't want to be going in there implementing things that have already been tried and failed, or the method of the intervention was the problem, not really the intervention itself. But you can't cross those hairs unless you have unfiltered data and accountability. So the fact that CSOs can monitor progress on the ground, this really, really accelerates the way that we can offer innovation, acceleration, and urgencies to addressing many SDGs. The last thing I will say that the civil society does is amplifying marginalized voices. So when I did my work in Myanmar, this is a on the ground example. One of the things I got to do was actually talk to 17 human trafficking survivors that were just rescued from China and brought back to their home country in Myanmar, right? And it was the CSO that was able to help with their readjustment when they were brought home. It was the CSO that was in touch with the embassy. It was the CSO that was given the resources to help them. It was the CSO that arranged my interviews with them to come and talk about their experiences for greater knowledge and understanding, and actually for anti-human trafficking prevention campaigns, right? So I believe civil society can amplify marginalized voices. They create safe platforms for minority groups, indigenous populations, and vulnerable communities. And they have the means to express their specific needs, ensuring that local interventions leave no one behind, right? So I really think the most powerful, most effective framework for SDG occur is when these three groups can overlap. So we don't want women doing their own thing here, youth kind of doing their own thing, and then civil society. We need urgently these groups to overlap in their solutions and interventions, because they all simultaneously advance gender equity, they all simultaneously advance economic resilience, and they all simultaneously advance community safety. So I've said a lot, I think. I hope it was clear and it was informative, but I think I've kind of said what everybody has said before me by listing out the projects or the initiatives that they're doing. And what they're all trying to do is create this opportunity of overlap so we can have these groups contribute meaningfully to the SDGs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chawla. This was amazing and interesting to listen to you. And as you said, you amplify and you encourage us also to continue with whatever projects we are doing, because all is important and doing it together makes it more meaningful and powerful. Now, again, we have the pleasure to invite our next speaker, Ms. Ayesha Balmori. And I know Ayesha actually more from Zoom, from working together on youth changemaker forums. She is a Filipino migration scholar, college professor, and youth leader based in Poland now. Her work focuses on migration governance, intergenerational dialogue, sustainability, and European migration law. She graduated with distinction from the European Politics and Social Program at the Charles University, which I think is in Prague, where her award-winning thesis examines the ethical and methodological challenges of researching irregular labor migration in Europe. It's a very important topic, and it's amazing that you are studying about it. I know you from the practical experiences with the young people, bringing young people together at the UN in Vienna. We had these 2 times, and I'm very happy that you can share more about yourself today. Ms. Ayesha Balmori, the floor is yours.
Hi guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, amazing. I'm so sorry because I know I promised Merle that I was gonna speak today, but we had some, let's say, new developments. So I was currently temporarily hired by our overseas workers welfare administration since Monday last week to help them with their outreach caravans. So now I'm actually, we just came from Yasna Gora to see the Black Madonna as a stopover after we did our outreach in Poznan. So I'm sorry if I don't look presentable because I just got out of the car. I asked them to do a stopover and it was perfect timing. But yeah, so just to introduce myself, so my name is Aisha Balmori. I'm 25 years old, so I guess I represent youth, leader, women, and also the civil society organizations. Um, what else? As Renate said, I just graduated from Charles University and Leiden University and Jagiellonian University. I'm an Erasmus Mundus scholar. So I graduated for European politics for my double degree, and I specialize in migration law, which I did my thesis on regular labor migration in Europe. So I guess, let me think. To answer the question, because I was also listening to our first 2 speakers, and I like, you guys have said it all, you know. But let's see. You know, I guess starting with women, you know, as a Filipina, I come from a culture where many Filipinos are matriarchal, or just the whole culture is very matriarchal. So Filipino women, Filipinas, are often considered natural born leaders. And so you know, we're often raised to take on leadership roles within our families and communities. And so most of the organizations I've been part of in the Philippines and even here in Europe, since they're all Filipino-led organizations, most of us have been, you know, most of them have been led by women. And in fact, I am, you know, I'm currently here, like I said, with OWA, with our government officials And actually, out of 10 of us, 8 of us are women. So that's also a big number for the women representatives. And they're also our undersecretary and assistant secretary for this department are also women. So, seeing mainly my whole life, seeing women lead with compassion and competence and also integrity. Um, they inspire me to, continue being a servant leader and to encourage more women to step into leadership roles alongside me. And for what was the next question for the youth? Yes, for the youth, I have always, let's say, believed that in the motto that I had during my undergraduate years in LaSalle in the Philippines. And it was doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So in that 3 years of my life in my undergraduate, I served in 14 student organizations where I led and supported initiatives on children's welfare, LGBTQIA plus rights, mental health, even humanitarian work with Red Cross, and also just building more inclusive communities. And those experiences, they taught me that young people should not wait until we are older to create change, because leadership begins wherever you are, whenever you are. And so that commitment, it continued when I moved to Europe. So today, I serve as a board member for the humanitarian organizations of Pinoys in Europe, and I also serve as the director for the European Network of Filipino Diaspora in Poland. So if you look at both of those organizations, I'd say 90% of our leaders, of our directors, of our board members are women. Well, mainly also because we're all Filipinos. So it shows that women are not only participating, we are leading and shaping our communities across Europe. And the last part is civil society. So civil society, I'd say, is where I have seen partnerships come to life. Through NFEED, I have worked with governments. Like now, I've worked with international organizations such as Women for World Peace with Renate. And I've also worked with multiple universities and also local communities to support Filipino migrants around Europe. So just to say, civil society organizations, we do not replace governments, but we help, let's say, bridge the gap between institutions and the people that they serve. So whether through community consultations, outreach activities, just partnerships in general with government agencies and other civil society organizations, it it helps translate policies into meaningful action. And I've also had the privilege to lead two forums already, according to what Renata said, the Youth Change Makers Forum, since last year. So we've already had it for 2 Februarys, hopefully having the third one next February. And you guys are also welcome to join. Um, our discussions, actually, it focused on intergenerational dialogue, just like what the last speaker was mentioning. So we tried to, let's say, gather professionals and youth leaders to co-create solutions towards achieving the 2030 sustainable development goals. And I also led a workshop there where I, let's say, pressured in a way to get two professionals, two veterans, and two youth leaders to try and co-create a solution, a long-term or at least a short-term solution in different types of global issues. And I'd say that they enjoyed it. I think Renate actually also participated in this workshop. Um, so, you know, I think that type of experience reinforces my belief that sustainable development is strongest when every generation has a seat at the table. And more recently, I have been promoting um, science diplomacy and science communication by creating opportunities for Filipino scientists in Europe to share their research and connect with governments and civil society organizations. Because most of our problems, even me as a social scientist or as a natural scientist, as a medicinal scientist, we use a lot of jargons in our in our research. So we call them non-specialists, the normal the others who don't do our research. So we want to be able to, present our research and materialize it in a way that everyone can understand. So that even when we try to partner with civil society organizations to the government, everyone understands our research in a way that we can materialize it into something real. And that's we have so many, untapped research even from the past. So hopefully through this forum, we're calling it Science and Conversation, we'll be able to tap into more. So starting from Filipino scientists and then to other scientists also. And also, what else? Let's say, finally, I guess, since Renate mentioned that I'm a professor now, I teach ASEAN Studies, Comparative Foreign Policy, and Migration Studies in LaSalle. So I guess it's because I actively pursue academics and I'm more of an academic researcher, academic analyst, more than anything, more above anything. But at this university, I teach diplomacy and international relations students. So I try to also encourage them and remind them that there are so many countless opportunities to turn their ideas into real projects and also meaningful change. So, young people, the youth, we don't need to wait for permission to make a difference. We have the opportunities, there's so many mentors. It's just we need the confidence to take the first step. And I guess to end it for me, um, leaving no one behind means recognizing that everyone has something valuable to contribute. So, women bring inclusive leadership, youth brings innovation and energy, and civil society builds trust and partnerships. And together, we can co create solutions that are more sustainable, more representative, and more impactful. So, thank you. I hope I didn't do overtime. So, back to you, Renate.
Thank you, Ayesha. It's impressive. You're out on the street and you're giving an amazing talk. And you're saying in 10 minutes what other people need half an hour to say. This fastness and this liveliness is so very impressive to me. Thank you very much, Ayesha. And I'm looking forward to the next programs doing together. Now, we had so many amazing ladies, but of course, there also is amazing men in our circle. And again, a friend or someone we know in Vienna is Mr. No, Romy Escarillo. Escarilla, I'm very sorry. And also our appreciation, because for you also it is 2 o'clock in the night, or maybe it's even 2:30, 3 o'clock now. Mr. Escarilla, it was a pleasure when you were in Vienna. I think it's 2 years ago now, and I listened to some of your seminars. They were very inspiring. Mr. Escarillo is also a speaker on thinking culture, leadership habits, and self-mastery. It's very amazing topics. Mr. Escarilla helps leaders and teams build strong thinking cultures where people communicate clearly, help each other solve problems creatively, and make decisions with confidence. His leadership experience spans real estate, pharmaceuticals, non-profit organizations. He believes that when people think better, everything gets better. Performance, relationships, and culture. And again, I end with this very, very good quote. And we are keen on listening to you, Mr. Escarilla, what you want to share with us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Renate. I remember 2 years ago when I was there, we discussed about a topic on self-leadership. And that topic resonated with me. And I put the things we have talked about there in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And the book is entitled The Inner Work of Leadership. And one chapter of this book is what I'm going to talk about today. It is about self mastery. Now, let me begin with a story. A few years ago, I met a leader. Brilliant, respected, admired. On paper, he had everything: the title, the team, the results. But one day, he told me something that changed the way I understood leadership forever. He said, Romy, I'm exhausted. I'm successful, but I'm not well. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. Leadership collapses when well being collapses. Today, I want to talk about the discipline that protects both, the discipline at the heart of the inner work of leadership, self mastery. And I want to connect it to a global truth. Good health and well being is not just a human need, it is a leadership responsibility. Self mastery begins in the quiet moments, the moment no one sees. It is the leader's inner governance. It rests on three pillars: self awareness, the courage to face your inner world honestly; emotional regulation, the discipline to respond with intention, not impulse; and intentional action, the commitment to act from values, not from ego. These pillars are not abstract ideas, they are survival skills because the greatest battles leaders fight are not external, they are internal. Let me tell you another story. A young manager once asked me, Sir, how do I stay strong when everything around me feels heavy? I told him, strength is not built in the moment of pressure. Strength is built long before pressure arrives. Self mastery is the leader's health shield. It protects mental, emotional, and social well being. Mental well being. Self awareness clears the fog. It helps you catch stress early and interrupt the spiral of overthinking. Emotional well being. Emotional regulation lowers anxiety and prevents burnout. Leaders who regulate their emotions create environments where people feel safe. Social well being. Intentional action strengthens relationships. It makes you a leader people trust, not because you're perfect, but because you are present. Self mastery is not a leadership competency, it is a health strategy. There is a loop a leader must understand. Your inner state shapes your leadership. Your leadership shapes your environment. Your environment shapes your health. I've seen leaders who were brilliant but reactive, and their teams walk on eggshells. The team members were extremely careful with what they are saying to the leader, to the extent that they are not telling the truth about what they really feel. They're afraid. I've seen leaders who were stressed, and their organizations absorbed that stress like a sponge. Imagine. But I've also seen leaders who were calm, centered, intentional, and their presence alone lowered the temperature of the room, reducing emotional intensity and conflict. and creating a more constructive atmosphere. When a leader is well, the team breathes easier. When a leader is grounded, the culture becomes healthier. When a leader is self mastered, the organization becomes resilient. This is the leadership health loop, and every leader is either strengthening it or breaking it. Here are practices that you can begin tomorrow morning. Practices that connect self mastery with good health and well being. First, a morning self check. What is the state of my mind today? Is it focus? Do I feel anxious? Or am I optimistic today? Next, 2 minutes breath regulation. Inhale, bring it down to your diaphragm. Exhale. Inhale, push downward. Exhale slowly. Inhale, push. Exhale. This lowers cortisol and resets your nervous system. Next, a quick values alignment. Ask yourself, what kind of leader do I choose to be today? Do I choose to be calm? Do I choose to be courageous? Do I choose to be compassionate? Next, emotional naming. What do I feel today? Do I feel overwhelmed? Do I feel defensive? Am I disappointed? Name it or tame it, because naming an emotion helps you understand it, and understanding your emotions reduce its intensity. Lastly, micropauses. Pause for 10 seconds to reset your mind before you respond. This will prevent you from being too reactive. These are not just small habits, these are big leadership investments. And for the final story, a leader once told me, I want to change my organization. I said, then change the way you lead. He said, I want to change the way I lead. I said, then change the way you think. He said, I want to change the way I think. I said, then begin with self mastery. Self mastery is not about perfection, it's about being, it's about presence. It is about returning to yourself, your values, your clarity, your purpose, again and again. When leaders commit to self mastery, they elevate not only their leadership, but also their well being. And when leaders are well, organizations become well, communities become well, the world becomes well. Good health and well being is not just a global goal, it is a leadership responsibility. And it begins with inner work, the work of self mastery. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Escarillo. This was really a quick seminar with so many valuable hints, and was a pleasure to listen to you. And I think it helps all of us to learn again and be reminded of very important aspects of successful, good leadership. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we have the pleasure to invite another gentleman, Mr. Miles Parker. He is the director of Lee Ron Hubbard Historic Landmark in Bay Head in New York, where the philosopher, humanitarian, and founder of Scientology wrote Dianetics, the modern science of mental health, which went on to become the best-selling book on the mind of all times. Mr. Parker, the floor is yours. You can tell more about yourself. And I also understand you came with a friend, so you manage the time together with your friend, and you can introduce your colleague. Thank you very much,
Very
Mr.
well.
Parker. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Miss Murli Sokila for inviting me to speak today and for staying in touch since we met at the UN Commission on the Status of Women in 2024. We actually met through her namesake, Miss Murli Barlan, who's the representative for the UN there. And I saw that her son is going to be here today. I don't know if he's still coming, but that's quite cool. So shortly, I'll introduce my friend who will speak right after me. I actually sent an article about him to Miss Murli, and she said, "Oh, would you like to invite him because you're going to be speaking?" And I said, "Definitely." So we're going to be splitting our time. I prepared what I'm going to say, so I am succinct. So it is truly an honor to join you today to discuss a subject that will determine the future of our world, what women, youth, and civil society can bring to the table to support the UN Sustainable Development Goals for 2030 to ensure no one is left behind. I have thought deeply on this topic, and I believe the answer is actually very simple, yet profoundly powerful. Which of the Sustainable Development Goals are not directly shaped by women and youth? Organizations and governments do not make change themselves, but individuals rising up do. Whether we speak about quality education, poverty reduction, peace building, health, gender equality, reduced inequalities, strong institutions, or sustainable communities, women and young people are at the center of every one of them. The mother is humanity's first teacher. Before formal education begins, before universities guide us, before society shapes us, a woman nurtures us, protects us, and teaches us our earliest values. And youth are not simply future leaders. They are leaders right now. They bring energy, innovation, courage, and the willingness to challenge problems previous generations accepted as impossible. Yet despite this, there are still voices in society that minimize the role of women and youth in decision-making, peace-building, education, and development. I believe this is one of the gravest mistakes humanity can make. A 2024 UN Women Report found that when women are meaningfully involved in peace and community building efforts, societies experience stronger long-term stability. This is something several others said today. Improve social trust and more sustainable development outcomes. Around the world, communities with stronger educational and civic opportunities for young people also show lower rates of violence, poverty, and social instability. These are not simply opinions anymore. The data is clear. This is why organizations like the Women's Federation for World Peace International and the United Nations Sustainable Development Initiatives are so important. Dr. Hak Jahan Moon, known to many as Mother Moon, and the founder, and now I learned co-founder, I thought she was the sole founder, of the Women's Federation for World Peace of International, stated, "History is calling for reconciliation, compassion, love, service, and sacrifice. Today's problems cannot be solved by the logic of power. Our present problems can only be solved by the logic of love. This message aligns deeply with the philosophy of L. Ron Hubbard, who wrote in 1951, "The arts and skills of woman, the creation and inspiration of which she is capable, and which here and there, in isolated places in our culture, she still manages to effect, in spite of the ruin and decay of a man's world around her, must be brought newly and fully into life. These arts and skills and creation and inspiration are her beauty, just as she is the beauty of mankind." He also wrote, "My own philosophy is that one should share what wisdom he has. One should help others to help themselves, and one should keep going despite heavy weather, for there is always a calm ahead." To me, these ideas connect powerfully. And if we truly want to accomplish the SDGs and ensure no one is left behind, then women, youth, and civil society cannot be simply included as participants. They must be recognized as essential driving forces behind humanity's progress. Because when women are empowered, families are strengthened. When youth are inspired, societies advance. And when civil society works together across faiths, across cultures, and nations, hope becomes not just an idea, but action. So I wanted to just share these thoughts with you today. I have one more minute, which I'll take to just acknowledge what a few other people said and introduce my dear friend Jessica Ron. So the gentleman right before me, I love what he shared about thought, and there's a very important piece of information I use. Thought is boss. This is something L. Ron Hubbard said. Thought is king, and function monitors structure. It's not the other way around, which many may believe, but thought is boss and can change everything. And then I loved this. I wrote this down: doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. Because what else can you do? That is so great. And then intention, not impulse. It is so important to be analytical, but not reactive. So true, so true. And then the dear sister from South Africa, I loved what she said. I have the same experience with everyone I've met from Women's Federation. I've been lucky to be in New York, so I don't have to go to other countries to meet them from other countries, because they all came here and I met them. And they're such great people. I've been to Johannesburg. South Africa is a beautiful country, so it's wonderful. So I want to introduce my dear friend Jaskaran. So we met through a community event in New York that was sponsored by the mayor of New York at the time. And he is just an exceptional individual that really brings youth together. He was a student leader at Queens Community College on the dean's list there, and has really just worked to uplift his community, the Sikh community, and the student community together, and just uniting people across faiths and borders. Just a great individual. So here he is.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to every one of you joining us today. I begin with all for greeting because we are a global family gathered across continents and time zones, yet united by a single purpose: to create dialogues that lead to dignity, safety, and opportunity to all. I am Jaskaran Singh, former student leader and an active community member from New York. I completed my associate degree in criminal justice from Queens Community College and working on the bachelor in John Jay College. It is a profound honor to be invited as one of the speakers for this meet and greet online dialogues, and I stand before you with gratitude, humanity, and a deep sense of responsibility to the community we serve. Allow me to begin by expressing my sincere and heartfelt appreciation to Dr. Maria, Director of the WFWPI UN Union Office, Mrs. Reniate, President of WFWP Australia, Ms. Merle, and Ms. Blechky, sorry if I pronounce it wrongly though, co-organizer of this gathering, and Mr. Parker for this invitation to share my voice with you today. Your leadership and the work of WFWP across the world is not only visible, but deeply felt. I have followed your previous sessions and have moved by the integrity, compassion, and consistency with which you advocate for women, youth, and children in every region. In a world that often overlooks the vulnerable, you choose to amplify them. That commitment matters, and I want you to know it is recognized, respected, and deeply appreciated. Before I share my reflection, I would like to ask each of you a simple yet powerful question. Please respond with yes in the chat if this applies to you. How many of you personally faced hate, racism, lack of support, political barrier, religion, uh, prejudice, culture, or community biases, gun violation, or any other violation, and importantly, concern for your own safety or the safety of those you love? If you all feel that, please request everyone to please put yes in the chat. As I see some of the responses coming in, they remind us of our hard truth. Pursuing leadership, education, or even basic dignity is not easy when these obstacles are placed in our path. Yet your presence here today proves that we are not defined by those obstacles. We are defined by how we rise above them. I speak to you not from theory but from lived experience. When I ran for the leadership position in both school and college, I encountered many of same barrier have indicated. As an Indian student, I come from a background and a culture different from the community I now call home. In a school, despite my effort, I did not succeed in securing a position. In college, I advanced to the second round only to face hate, biases, and doubt along the way. But I refuse to let this voice become my ceiling. I choose to stand not only for myself, but for every student who felt unseen, unheard, or unworthy. As a first generation student in my family, I had no roadmap for applying to college or navigating scholarship. I learned through trial, error, persistence, and today I decide myself to guide the next generation through that same process so they can walk a path that is clearer than the one I had to create for myself. One of the most paralyzing focus in our community is a fear of judgment, the quiet but heavy question. What will people think? The thing that single thought has silenced dream, delayed actions, and buried potential. My message to you today is this: we must stop living for the approval of others and start living for the progressive of our community. As a leader, I have heard whisper behind my back. I have been doubted, dismissed, and underestimated. I choose to keep moving. And when the time came for me to transition to the next chapter of my service, some of the same individual who once questioned me asked me to stay longer. That is the nature of the progress. It is often met with resistance first and respect later. We cannot afford to wait for the promises to do what is right. When we turn our attention to the role of women in the society, we must comfort a painful and a persistent coordinations. From childhood, I hear these phrases, and I know most of you have heard this same thing. Behind every successful man is a woman. Yet, when a woman steps forward to let society ask, can she really run a country? Why should we work under a woman? This double standard in injustice and outdated. If a woman can manage a household, nurture children, care for elders, and hold a family together with wisdom and strength, then she possesses every equality needed to lead a city, a nation, or a global movement. We witnessed this with Kamala Harris during running for the president of the United States this year. And we witness it daily in our own home. My own mother is proof of this truth. For years, she lived with the fear of what her husband and the community would say if she chose to work. After much encouragement, she began working a year and a half ago. The transmission has been remarkable. She now speaks English with growing confidence and carries herself with a new sense of purpose. When We replace fear with sport, we unlock potential that benefit us all. We often declare that school, colleges, religious institutions, and homes are the first place where character is formed. But we must ask ourselves, are we teaching the right lesson? We invest time and resources in fire drill and emergency protocol to protect students from a physical harm. Yet, where are the curricula that teach respect, empathy, and cross-cultural cooperation? How can we expect to end hate, racism, and division if we do not actively teach how to treat every person with dignity, regardless of race, color, faith, or background? It is a tragedy, tragedy that some religious space today promote division rather than unity. Let me unequally overcall no God, not the Christian God, not a Muslim God, not a Sikh God, not a Jewish God, or a Hindu God, or any other God ever command us to hate one another. Every sacred tradition calls us to stand together. I was raised among diverse culture and faith, and I have made it my personal mission to attend events beyond my own community. I go to listen, to learn, to share my values, and to build bridges of understanding. That is how we replace fear with love. I will close with the two guideline truths that my work and my life. First, from our script, man is born from a woman. Within a woman, man is convinced. To a woman, he is engaged and married. Man is a friend with woman. Through woman, the future generation exists. When is when his woman pass away, he seek another woman. To woman, a man is bound. So why call her bad? From her, king are born. From a woman, woman is born. Without woman, there would be no one at all. Second, a principle that must govern our daily conduct. You cannot treat people like garbage and worship God at the same time. Faith without respect is empty. Leadership without compassion is hollow. Let us choose a different path today. Let us choose respect over ridicule, unity over division, and action over apathy. The world is watching, and more important, the next generation is learning from us. I hope you all did not take my words too serious, but if you feel anything personally, I am sorry for that. Once again, thanks so much for having me in this meeting today and helping me to make more good connection with the entire world. Thank you so much, Mr. Parker and everyone.
Thank you very much. First of all, Mr. Parker, it is amazing the short minutes that you had, the amazing things you shared with us, and that you're ready to share the time with your friend, who again is the most amazing person, Mr. Singh. Thank you so much for coming in, and everything you said, it moves us to tears to listen to you, young man, sharing your insight and sharing also about your sustainability, to be so stable inside, to go through difficulties and still keep these values, stick to these values, and that you're active in the communities. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Mary, for inviting this beautiful young man. And we really wish you all the best to continue with your efforts and your endeavors. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here today. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was absolutely moving to listen to you. So now
Thank you so much.
we have another part of the program. We have listened to all our speakers, amazing speakers, and now I have the pleasure to share Peace Ambassadors Awards. And actually, I'm quite so sad that we decided to give to women. We should also give to young men in the future. Maybe we can do this next time. So we are, as women, as was mentioned by everyone, we all know we can bring no changes alone. We want to be a network. We want to be together with our sisters and brothers and sons and fathers and mothers, with all the generations together. So we are a peace network, and we have awards to give to dear colleagues. This is called the Peace Ambassador Award. So now I just have to find it. And I think one lady, she's gone. Ayesha, I think she said she left. It's on my screen. Here it is. So this is Ayesha, but she left. But Miss Rosie Shavla, we also want to you to embrace you in our peace network as Global Women's Peace Ambassador, Women's Federation for World Peace International, on behalf of its co-founders, Dr. Sunwing Moon and Dr. Hakchan Moon. And this is an amazing thing because Reverend Sunwing Moon, he so much pushed his wife to become a women leader because he said without women, the world cannot change, the world cannot heal. So he really is a man that supported his wife to become a women leader. Is proud to recognize the awardee as a Global Women Peace Ambassador based on the exemplary accomplishments in the area of international relations. Global Women Peace Ambassadors are peace leaders representing the religious, racial, and ethnic diversity of the human family and all disciplines of human endeavor. They stand on the common ground of shared values and are committed to the path of promoting reconciliation, overcoming barriers, and building peace. So, Ms. Shavla, it is really appropriate that you received this award from us. Can you see it?
Well,
Yes.
yes, I feel like every speaker here deserves this award, and I'm too humble. But I will say that everyone here is advancing the work in peace, and we appreciate all of you, and we appreciate this gathering. I share this with every one of you. Thank you so much. I'm very honored. It's very humbling. It also tells me I have to do more, which I promise you that I will. But thank you so, so much. And I just want to congratulate everyone that came and spoke today. I really liked everyone, especially the last speaker, which I believe was really touching on gender and the gender divide and asking questions. So thank you so, so much. Thank you.
Ms. Chawla, thank you very much for your nice words. And we will send it to you with email. And maybe, or also maybe, I don't know how often you meet our colleague Merle Balam, that she could give it to you. We can check this out, yeah. So Miss Ayesha is not here anymore. Is this right? She said she has to leave. And I think for those two amazing young men, we can figure something out for next time, because this, if I know Merle Balam Soquila, Merle Soquila Blaschke well, then this is not going to be the last episode of Meet and Greet. So we will figure out something for you, you beautiful young man, for the next episode. We don't know the date yet. And actually, you're not alone, because Mr. Romy Escarilla, he got this award when he was in Vienna around Christmas time 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago. So, yeah, now we still have a little bit of time. If there is some questions, some urgent questions, something you want to ask, someone you want to connect to, the best is you raise your hand or you raise your voice, because then we don't have to look around if there is some hand somewhere. Oh, yes.
Hello.
Mr. Singh, yes.
Yeah, I'm Catherine Colibidi from Liberia.
Yeah.
Catherine from Liberia. So again, I'm so happy to be a part of the meet and greet. This is my third time being part of the meet and greet. The first time I was one of the speakers, and the second time I was a participant, and now I'm a participant. And I feel good to be a part of the family. And like I raised in the chat, it's important because the caption for this meeting alone, it means for us to connect. But most of the time, when we come in the meeting, we don't connect. Even those people who try connecting, you don't see them responding. So it's very important. The purpose of us coming here to learn and to network, that we can expand our work and expand our network in other parts of the world. So again, thank you to Madeline for giving me the opportunity to always be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine, and greetings to Liberia. We remember your talk. And Mr. Singh wanted
yes.
to...
Oh, just for information, after my presentation, This year I was awarded by the Ministry of Gender and a award called Award of Impact. An Impact Award was given to me by Ministry of Gender for the work we do through our organization. So I'm so grateful for that. Yes.
Oh, this is amazing. This is good to hear. Congratulations. Congratulations, Catherine.
Thank you.
Is it right, Mr. Singh? You want to say something because I see your hand. Please.
Yeah, I just want to say once again, thank you to everyone for having me today because I have to run for another meeting. But I really want to appreciate Miss Marilee and Mr. Parker for inviting me for this event. And last but not the least, I have to say, go WFWPI. You're doing really great work and hope to see you guys soon in the next meeting, guys. Thank you for having me once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care. So, is there any more urgent questions? It's really getting late, and some people we have to send back to bed so they can get some rest until tomorrow morning. So maybe we continue with the program. And this brings me to the next point. This is Miss Merle Blaschke-Sukwila. She likes to give some concluding remarks before we come to the nice part of music. Merle, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renate, for giving me the floor. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight and for taking your time despite busy schedules. Thank you, and to all the amazing speakers and participants, thank you very much indeed for your very insightful, valuable contributions. It is very inspiring to listen to different ideas and perspectives. Keep it up. And to all our well-deserving recipients of Global Women's Peace Ambassador Awards, congratulations. You are very well deserving to receive this recognition. And my sincere thanks to the Philippine Embassy, Vienna office, for their unwavering support. Thank you, Ms. Sikat, for being with us tonight, and to all of you who contributed to the success of this meet and greet number 14. Please, I would like to let you know that you are very special indeed. I believe what we do here now is crucial. Why? Because creating a culture of heart is necessary to build a world of peace and goodness. And I absolutely agree that each of us has a divine responsibility to be peacemakers and builders of a better world. So in alignment with our founder, the Women's Federation for World Peace vision of Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon and the Sustainable Development Goals, we are on the right track. And we will continue with this beautiful work. This dialogue and sharing of experiences, wisdom, success stories despite challenges, contribution of best practices, skills, vision, and more. Anything that we can learn and grow is essential at this very crucial time of global uncertainty. And we are hopeful. Somehow we find ways on how we can collaborate in some practical ways. So thank you very much for everything. And before I end, I just would like to help my husband with his birthday cake so he can make a wish and then blow his number 73 birthday cake candles. Are you with me? All right, make a wish and then blow the candles.
Woo! Bravo! Yes, okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Renate. Thank you.
Congratulations, Ferdinand. Happy birthday to you.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Mary. Thank you for your continuous effort to bring these programs together that are so amazing. And now we have the great pleasure to listen to the music of a young man, again, a young man. He's the son of our actually director of all the offices, the UN offices. She lives in New York. Even she's also Filipina, Miss Mary Barlan, and it is her son, Johan Barlan, and he really prepared to have some joyful conclusion for tonight. So we ask our dear technician, Lili Gundaka, to play the video for us.
Hello everyone, my name is Johan Barlan. Thank you so much for inviting me to this meet and greet. I would like to say thank you for everyone who is building towards a world of peace, and I would like to dedicate this piece to those people. Please enjoy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Huyan. Balan, I'm not sure if he's here on the call, but we will give the thanks through his mother. Amazing, amazing conclusion of this program. And once again, I really want to say thank you, all of you here, all of you speakers. When I think of the last 1.5 hours, it feels like a whole day seminar. Each one of you prepared such contents and very condensed contents. We learned so much, we were inspired, and everything together makes a beautiful whole. So now, please have a good rest or have a good day ahead of you, depending which region of this world you are. Thank you very much for being here today, and we will see each other again. I'm very sure about that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Take care. Take care. Take good rest, Mr. Escarillo. When you come again, we are happy to see you again in Austria. Thank you, Mr. Parker. It is amazing. It was so beautiful to listen to you. Take care.